Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are doing another Withering Watchpile episode. This time the video Nasties. And joining me today is again CultFlixFix24. Welcome back.
Thanks, Christian, for having me again. It's always an honor, man, and I look forward to going through the video nasties as I've seen plenty of these films, but never really broke them down. So this is gonna be interesting to do it. It's a first time experience on this, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, and video Nasties has always been kind of my soft spot for like the in the cult films genre or whatever. Because for years I was like, I'm gonna only collect video nasties, and thankfully, Will actually persuaded me to pursue better movies and to just get the video nasties that I was actually interested in, not getting all of them. And even now, there are so many that you can't find, even on good high quality Blu-ray. And the ones I have today are like really good, like releases by Arrow, Blue Underground, and Shout Factory. And there's a reason why a lot of them are unfindable, because a lot of them are so violent and also rapey, also very does a lot of animal cruelty scenes like on camera. The most famous one is of course Cannibal Holocaust, where they took out like 20 minutes of the movie because they were killing turtles, snakes, alligators. They had a lot of rape in the movie, and because it shot like a found footage, well, not found footage, but like a documentary movie, everyone thought it was real, and they jailed all of the actors and actresses, or they jailed the director because they thought the actors and actresses were actually murdered on camera and also raped on camera. And so the director got arrested, and the entire story of that is so like interesting. And I know Cursed Films documentary just did an episode on that on Shudder, and that's like the one episode I haven't seen. I need to watch it. But the video Nasties is a fascinating time capsule, in my opinion, of the history of film, because it's such a weird, specific time frame from 1984 with the passing of the Video Recordings Act, which I guess I'll just jump into what that is. Basically, that was the British Film Commission uh, produced a list of 72 films that were considered the worst of the worst, the video nasties. And that the 72 films are actually the Section 1 movies. So that was like Driller Killer, where you had someone's head getting drilled in on the cover of VHS copies, and everyone freaked out. Well, all the non-horror fans freaked out seeing that in the movie, in the video rental stores. And then you had Cannibal Holocaust, again, where everyone thought people were actually murdered because they never heard of this movie, especially in America, because the Italian uh, Joe D'Amato, I think, film. And no one knew who he was, so they just found Cannibal Holocaust on some random VHS tape. And they rented it, and they were like, "Oh my god! Like, send it to the FBI. I just watched someone get murdered and raped on like VHS. Contact the police." But after doing Section 1, they still had a lot of films, 82 specifically, that they wanted to have also on that list. And so Section 1, just to get it out, those are the films that were confiscated by the police and on obscenity charges. And the dealers and people who were found holding or even possessing these VHS tapes were jailed for like multiple years, like as long as like murderers and awful people, because they were
Oh,
tainting the youth or whatever. And Section 2 is that you still get charged with a obscenity charge, but you're not jailed anymore. You just have to pay a fine, and the police still confiscate it and they burn it and all of that. Section 3 films are the ones that You could not be prosecuted, and if you were willing to give up the VHS tape, they would drop all charges. So, and then they would go and burn out all of the VHS tapes. So, you've seen Censor, and you saw a couple of those scenes where our main hero, not a hero at the end, but our main hero at the time of the film, of the, I guess the 40-minute mark is when things start going crazy. But she is like trying to get a VHS tape, and the guy's like, I don't have it. And he like goes out back, and he reaches under the, the whatever, the desk, and like brings it out, and it's like he's trading like drugs or something, but it's just like a horror movie. So Censor's a great movie to get like a introduction on, because they cover all of it from the perspective of the people who were watching each film and noting down everything that was awful about it. So high violent scenes, rape scenes, animal cruelty, all of those were connected. And so some of these movies that I covered, I don't know if you did the, I guess, looking at exactly why these movies were banned or anything like that. This is the stuff that fascinates me. Yeah. And some of my movies, it's like, oh, it's like 6 seconds was cut because there's a tongue pulling scene. And it's really disgusting looking, and they actually use a cow's tongue for the scene, and it looks realistic. Okay, cut out the 6 seconds, but we'll let you screen it in theaters. And then some movies, like Cannibal Holocaust, they found it, and they were like, we have to create video nasties because of this, and Driller Killer. Those are the two big movies that kind of started the video nasties. But I love it. I love video nasties. I love the history behind it.
Same here.
I don't agree at all that it should have been banned or re-edited or anything like that. But thankfully, there are other countries in the world. This was just Britain. So
that's what I was going to ask. Was it just Britain?
Yeah, it was just them.
Yeah.
There's a really great essay in the Censor box set from Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know about Second Sights or Imprint, whoever did it. But there's a whole essay talking about the history of it, finally, and using the movie as like okay, it's calling back to this event, it's calling back to this event, and stuff like that. So if viewers want to know more, go check out that essay. It's wonderful. But that's kind of my history lesson about what video nasties are. Guilty pleasure, that's what I call them.
Same here. And I actually didn't know they were called video nasties since I was growing up younger, because I had those Faces of Death films like on cassette VHS.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch those, and I couldn't tell if that was real or not. When you're younger, and you're like a fucking alligator just ate someone. He landed in a crock pit, and all my friends, that was real. We believed it at the time, and as I see on the list, it is a video nasty. Faces of Death is on there, so it's just actual deaths happening, but it's practical effects or whatever, but it looks so damn real. And like at my age, I always thought it was real. I was like, you want to see a guy get eaten by a croc? I'd call my friends over like in the afternoon. And they're like, whoa, my mom wouldn't let me see this at home, so they're over there hanging out with me. That was a bad influence. But that's the first film I think of on video nasties is the Faces of Death films, because those are hard to get.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely Cannibal Holocaust for me, because I remember in like 9th grade was when I really started to pirate movies a lot online, because I couldn't find any movies I wanted to watch, because it were all cult films. That was when I discovered like Donnie Darko, David Lynch, all these different directors, and I was like, I want to watch the movies. Where are they? Where can I find these movies? So I remember for years I'd heard about Cannibal Holocaust, and how people were actually arrested for it. They had to go track down each and every actor and actress and anyone who appeared on camera and bring them to court and prove without a doubt that these people aren't murderers, these people weren't murdered, these people weren't raped. And there's that really famous scene in Cannibal Holocaust where the woman is sitting and she is impaled from as all the way out of her mouth, and she's like just sitting there like this. And all they did for that effect, and it looks really fucking good, especially on the camera they shot on, all she did was sit on like a bicycle chair, and they used like her leg to like block where the chair was, and she balanced the wooden stake like in her mouth, and it was hollow,
Oh wow,
so it was like really light. It was like rubber or something, and it was just painted really finely and with a lot of details. Now I
that's
remember,
the front cover of the film, right?
oh yeah,
Is that the front?
it was
Yeah, yeah.
awesome. And that was the scene I'd heard about for years, and I was like, I want to watch it. And I remember in ninth grade, I finally pirated it, and I was feeling sick the entire movie because I was like, I completely forgot it was supposed to be like totally fake. I didn't know if it was just that scene of her being impaled was fake, but I was just completely shocked the entire time. The opening scene is a woman getting raped with a rock like the size like this big, and the guy is like beating her in that area, and it was shocking. It was
Crazy.
blew my mind as a ninth grader. I should not have seen it back then. I haven't seen it since, but I need to rewatch it and re-traumatize myself. So,
So yeah, I saw it when I was older. I watched it on Shutter, so I
oh,
was
okay.
already older. So it was like I was like, oh, I've seen this shit, some of it, but then I was like, oh, gets a little crazy though.
I
Like,
hadn't seen anything by that point. That was like the
yeah,
first cult, maybe outside of Dead Alive by Peter Jackson, but that's so goofy. Like, I was not
yeah.
affected by that movie.
See, if I'd have seen it in ninth grade like you, I'd have probably been traumatized. Like,
That's why nothing
what the
shocks me
fuck?
anymore in movies because of Cannibal
Yeah,
Holocaust.
yeah. I broke in late to that genre
It's
because I
my
think I even saw Green Inferno before I saw Cannibal Holocaust, and I was like,
that's why I was always confused by people who hated Green Inferno because I really enjoyed it for the most part. There was a few
yeah,
things I didn't really care about, but whatever. That's every Italian
uh
jungle movie ever. Is there's always that part that you don't like. But like for Green Inferno, I was like, what a great homage to that entire genre of the Italian
yeah.
cannibal films. Like, what a great homage. And I never watched it again. I never
That's how I
will.
saw
But
it. I saw it as a homage too, so I was like, yeah, it's pretty. Even though I saw that one first, but when and I saw Cannibal Holocaust, I was like, this is just straight Cannibal Holocaust, but not done as well.
oh yeah,
So yeah,
Cannibal Holocaust is a feat,
yeah,
especially in
that's hard to beat.
1971 or 72 when it was made. Like, Jesus.
That's like probably the best jungle film I've seen. Cannibal film, you can't top it. I mean,
That's why I don't
there's like
watch many, honestly.
there's Slave of the Cannibal Gods, which is pretty good too. I saw that one, and it's pretty good, but it doesn't compare to Cannibal Holocaust. I mean, that's the probably the creme of the whole thing of that jungle craze that went on through Italian cinema.
Yeah, because the thing that I don't like with Severin a lot is that they always do all these random cannibal movies. And I'm just like, none of them matter. None of them are that good. Like, Cannibal Holocaust, that's it. But Eaten Alive, I think, is really great. But because
Yeah,
of
I
the
like that
fact
one.
that they use the Georgetown massacre as kind of its climax, I don't know if it's tasteful at all, but it was a different angle of the cannibal movies. But
Yeah.
that's really the only cannibal movie I've enjoyed since Holocaust. So Cannibal Ferox I've seen. I had the Grindhouse releasing version, which looks
Yeah.
amazing. It's like a 4 disc like thing with a CD and like all this stuff. And I watched it once and I was like, oh, it's just Cannibal Holocaust. And they even got the main actor from Cannibal Holocaust. What's his name? I had it in my head right before I said it. Something Kerman or something like. I don't know, but
Uh,
they brought him back. They
can't think of
brought the main star of Cannibal Holocaust and was like, "See, he's still alive." But
that.
since
Yeah,
I,
I recommend checking out Slave of the Cannibal Gods. I mean, it's a step down, but it's still fun. But there's a lot of tribe dick scenes towards the end. You're gonna see a lot of
oh,
dicks towards the end of the film, and it's pretty weird, like strange. But I like the end, man. And then the main character is what's her name? Ursula Andress. She's beautiful, man. Beautiful
Hmm.
woman. She's exposed in that film fully. So just for that alone, it's worth watching.
Well, I'll keep that in mind. But I guess I'll go first since I chose the topic. But
All right.
my first one is, of course, the 1960s movie. 1960. Let me find
Oh,
it. 1963, to be precise. It's a director who I've been meaning to get into for many, many years. Because I watched this movie way back in my beginning journey of film collecting and all of that. And I remember there was a huge box set version of this, of what Arrow calls the Herschel Gordon Lewis Feast. And I don't have the cereal box one. That was probably the first Arrow video release I became known, or that became known to me back in like 10th grade, because that was when I first saw Blood Feast. And I guess I wasn't collecting then, but on my cult films journey. And the movie that I saw was Blood Feast. So this is the
oh, nice.
not standalone, but there's like 4 discs in here. Well, 4 movies, 2 discs. So this movie is not that good in terms of the story, acting, themes. I guess I haven't really looked into any. I guess academic study of this outside of this is the first splatter film of all time, like ever in the entire world. And this is the Section 1 movie. You were arrested for this if you own this, possessed it. You got charged years of your life to be away. And what's funny is that only 6 seconds were cut from this movie. And that was because there's a scene pretty early on where our main killer, who is like an Egyptian god worshipper, he is going around, he has a catering business. He's just gathering people and young women and just killing them in the most grotesque, disgusting way that he can. Because the entire purpose of this movie and why it was made was because Herschel Gordon Lewis saw Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock and was like, what the fuck? We didn't see any of the like blood effects. Like, we saw no stabbings. Like, what the fuck? And so, like, a few years later, while he's in college, I think he was in college when he made this, he got a bunch of friends together and, like, got volunteers to act in this film. And was like, okay, we're going to start the movie off with the Psycho shower scene. Completely disconnected from the entire movie. Shot exactly the same way. Of the woman turning around screaming and then the knife going in, all the stuff. But with this movie, they show her getting knifed and blood going everywhere. And he hacks her up with the knife and takes off her legs, arms, decapitates her, smears the blood on the walls, and like all. This is like the intro scene of the movie. It is awesome. I get what he means. I love Psycho, but I get his frustrations because it is like nowadays, and I guess for him, 1963, it's not that bloody. They use chocolate syrup for the blood effects in that movie.
Oh, wow.
And he was just like, okay, now that we have that done, let's go and do a special effects extravaganza. And so the entire movie is this caterer, trying to gather human bodies for the food that he's going to serve at, different businesses and whatever. And he does all sorts of scenes. And the 6-second scene that got cut was him digging around a woman's mouth as she's screaming, grabbing the tongue, ripping it out without cutting it or anything. And it's like this long of like tongue. And it's like wagging and like all the stuff, and they actually use like cow's tongue for that. So it looks really fucking realistic. It's a little too fat for a human tongue, but whatever. There's blood everywhere. And she like, I don't know how they did this, but they actually made it look like she had no tongue. And just blood was going everywhere. Like, I guess they had a hose or something. or she had like drunk a lot of blood or something and threw it back up. I don't know how they did it, but there's a lot of blood in that scene. There's a lot of scenes of him chopping up random people, and at the end he gets caught and he gets his own very splattery death. And there's nothing spectacular about this movie except for the effects, because it was 1963 and he wasn't even supposed to be making it yet. So I enjoy this movie for what it is. I hated it when I didn't hate it, but I thought it was terrible the first time I watched it, and I didn't know that it was kind of the first. I'd heard about it, but I never researched it until after I watched it. I was like, oh, okay, it's way better than I thought. And then I rewatched it yesterday, I guess. I was like, no, yeah, this movie's awesome. Like, this is great. You have to put on your Friday the 13th glasses, at least for the sequels of Friday the 13th, where you're like, I'm not here for the story, I'm not here for the acting, I'm here for the kills. Like, that's the kind of mindset you have to go in for a blood feast. And that's really all the notes I have for this. But this movie is so fun, and it's basically like a big FU to Psycho, and I enjoy that a lot. So it's just shocking how bloody it is, and it's actually on YouTube. That you can watch it right now.
I got the same box set you do. I've seen it. So.
Oh yeah, was that one of your movies?
No, it's not one of my movies. So
I'm shocked. That's the only '60s movie I know of in the video nasties. One. Oh my gosh,
I got one. It's crazy how you said Psycho, because I never knew that until you said it, and I was like, it does have similar to Psycho, but like you said, he had enough of that shit, needed some gore in there. So that's interesting, because there's a sequel to it called Blood Diner, which is from the 80s, and it's released from Vestron. I think Vestron released it.
Oh.
But it's supposedly
it's an unofficial sequel.
Yeah, like they say it's a sequel or a remake. I don't know, but it's a lot of fun too, but more cheesier.
Vestron does a lot of cheesy movies.
Yeah.
Wishmaster. Oh my god, I love Wishmaster.
But the ending to Blood Diner is awesome too, man. He has that Egyptian and body parts going all across and everything like that.
Was that like in the 80s or something? Because in my head, it's Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. With the long
Yeah, it's in the 80s. It's a real goofy movie, really goofy, like, and odd. But yeah, like these two guys working at a diner, and they're worshipping the Egyptian, similar, and they're trying to put her together or something like that, and
they're getting like body parts. Frankenstein. And also, what's it called? Frankenhooker. Yeah.
Yeah, they go take girls on dates just to murder them and shit like that.
A lot of movies like that.
yeah, a lot of movies. But it's a lot of fun. I don't know where you could watch that at. I don't have a copy, but I don't know if it's available to stream.
Yeah. But that's all I have.
Guess
that was
I'll
really
get
short.
started.
We talked a lot about the history of it, which I didn't. I looked at the time and I was like, wow, I didn't talk for that long, did I? I remember. Oh, wait.
Well, I'm going different this time. I'm going to go from my best film to my last.
Really?
I got to do it because of my alcohol purpose, because I want to reveal it right away, and it's for the last film.
Oh, okay.
So
well, you can reveal it if you want.
So I guess I'll just do it that way since I have it. Anyways, my first film is going to be 1980s Contamination.
Oh,
from Arrow. Okay. And my beer, it's an alien film. So I got some green alien. You can see it's similar.
Wow,
to the film.
That's a lot better than mine.
It's a IPA beer. And I don't know if I need a bottle opener, so I might have to hold up on that. Should have tested that first. Yep, bottle opener.
Okay. I actually need to grab my drink real quick.
Open here.
Okay.
I did not know that. I should plan ahead on stuff like that.
Well, I put away my drink, and I was like, wait, I need to show it.
So anyways, I'll do the taste test here. I haven't tasted it yet. So here we go. Man, it's real dull, but not bad. It's an IPA, definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna say every IPA has been pretty bad from my experience.
It tastes kind of like if you eat a weed outside, dude. I don't know,
Yeah.
something like that. Like you get a weed, like those what are those peppermint kind of weeds? I don't know what they're called. They used
Oh
to
yeah.
crunch them. But anyways, it's something like that. If you, I don't know if to describe it. It's very strange. Strong taste. I'm sure it'll grow on me. Little skunky.
You have a hot Vesta come out.
Yeah. I'd say I'd give it about a 3 out of 5 decent beer. I'm even rating beers. I don't know why, but
3 out of 5, and it's really dull.
really dull, dude. It's like I don't know if I'd get that again, honestly. But okay, let's get into the film here. So I got Contamination from 1980. This is directed by Luigi Cosi, and this was actually made 10 days before my birth year, since I was born.
Oh.
So it's a June 1982 film. It's as old as me, pretty much. So this is basically about an astronaut, a government agent, and a detective who are tracking the source of a coffee company that's covering up uh pretty much alien eggs they have stashed inside their coffee. And it all starts with these former astronauts that go to Mars, and they pretty much run across an alien life form there and a bunch of eggs, and they just like, I guess they get mind control over him. He gets mind control over one of the astronauts. So he's back to Earth years later, controlling this coffee company, and he's doing work for the alien. It's controlling him or whatever. And so you got these alien eggs that pretty much explode acid and melt people down to the core.
Ooh.
And you got like Fulci gore in this, like gore like, which I loved. Because you see them get, I mean, their whole intestines are exploding from the inside out. Maybe that's why it's a video nasty, I'd say, because you see a bunch of organs flying everywhere, body organs and stuff like that. And I mean, it reminded me a lot of like a zombie, because it starts off with like a cargo ship just going through the water and it's empty, kind of like the boat on Zombie, the beginning of that. And these guys go to put their suits on. He's pretty much a detective. They put on their suits to go investigate. They find these bodies mutilated, and that's when they discover the eggs. And pretty much this film is their way to lead them through to pretty much investigate this coffee company and find out what's going on. And there's a more sinister thing behind it, and unearthly, how can I say, substance above it. But man, the soundtrack has it sounds very goblin like in this. I think it is goblin
Ooh.
actually, and it's real awesome, the soundtrack in this film. I like the gore. Like I said, it's similar to Fulci. I got Fulci gore out of this as well. And pretty much the director said that he was inspired by Alien, of course. So he made this silly Italian B movie. But you do get what I got out of this film personally was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think that's what I got more out of the film. But it's funny because at the beginning you see a helicopter coming in, and you see a guy dressed exactly like Kurt Russell on the thing, glasses, the jacket, but he's Italian, and it's. I was just laughing out loud. I was like, "How many more movies can Italians rip off here?" But
There's never a
yeah,
shortage.
there's never a shortage. But yeah, I guess according to the director Cozy, this film was partially funded by Colombian drug dealers.
Hmm.
So because it takes
That's new.
place in like a Colombian area, and I guess they pretty much said if the film flops, they might be getting taken out. So I guess the director was worried. So I guess the film like sold triple. So the drug dealer was like, "Oh, we got our profit. You're fine." Just left him alone. So that's pretty scary at the same time. You're dealing with that. Yeah. Originally, there's a very attractive lady in this film. She played the doctor, or no, the government agent. It was supposed to be Carolyn Monroe. I don't know what happened in this
Hmm.
film. I guess the director wanted her, but he just couldn't get her to do the film. So that's pretty interesting because I mean, the main girl's very attractive and pretty, but I could Carolyn Monroe would just knock it over the edge for me. So, um, Yeah, there's a. It's number. Let's see. It's on the 72 film list. I don't know what number it is on the nasty list. It was section 2, so it's not you won't get prosecuted for it pretty much. Or like is that what they call it?
Yeah, you would get
Section 2.
prosecuted. You wouldn't get jailed.
You won't get jailed. Okay.
You'll get charged
Um,
for obscenity, but I
so it's
actually
a
looked.
section 2.
Yeah, I looked up exactly what they banned it for, so I can hop in whenever to explain.
Okay. I'm almost done here.
Okay.
So it was released in DVD and Blu-ray in 2015 uncut for the first time.
Ooh.
And I guess it was a 18-year-old rating and it got brought down to a 15-year-old rating after that release. And you got of course the acting's horrible in this film, but still a lot of fun. And it's got the bad English dubbing that you see in a lot of Italian horror. I even recognize similar voices from other films that they just voice over, and it's just very cheesy. But man, I was a fan of this film, especially the gore, because I just love how the intestines are just getting exploded everywhere when the acid hits them. You see like skeleton ribs and everything inside them. It's just that's what I love. But I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5, and it was my best film out of the batch because
I
it had that folky feel.
Yeah, I have passed by that movie. Like I recognize that artwork so well. That was one of the first arrows I almost bought, but I ended up getting something else. But now that I know that, I need to get it. But I looked it up here on Wikipedia. I was shocked that they even had a section about it. But they said that it was because bodies were exploding in slow motion,
Yeah.
and that they said that technically the explosion effects are not graphic, but that they are extremely bloody, just in terms of quantity. So a lot of people feel it's not worth being on the list. So
Yeah, because it's something you've seen before. You know what I mean? It's nothing new, but cool at the same time.
yeah.
But that's all I got on that film, pretty much.
All right. Well, I will go on to my second one then. Let me go back to the thing. So this one is one that I was shocked was on the list. So I watched it for the first time ever. It's one of my favorite directors, Italian, Dario Argento. And
Oh,
I'd
nice.
never seen this one before. And I still don't have really hard feelings about it right now, but I still think it's up there with like Phenomena. But this is the movie Inferno. I had never
Oh,
seen
nice.
this before. I was shocked. I thought it was a 1990s era Argento, and I looked it up, and it's 1980. I was like, what the fuck? It's like he did this soon after Suspiria. Like, how come I never saw this? But apparently, Daria Nicolodi is in this movie. I did not see her at all. And I don't know if I was, like, not paying attention. But it said she was in it as, like, one of the main
I think she's at the
characters.
beginning.
Okay,
I think they just show her in the beginning, real brief.
Okay, I did not notice her at all. This bad on me. But
It's been a while since I've seen that one, but
yeah, I have the Blue Underground, and I think Arrow just announced that they're doing like 5 total. Or no. Uh some theater is doing a huge Dario Argento like retrospective of like all his movies. And they announced that they're doing 5 of his movies in a 4K format, and I think it's Dark Glasses, which is this new one. Suspiria,
oh,
there's a new 4K coming out for some reason. I thought they had a pretty great 4K already of that, but they're doing that.
yeah.
They're doing Inferno. I'm not sure what the other 2 are. Hopefully not Trauma, but I hope some better movies than that. But this is a Section 2 movie. It was non-jailed, but 20 seconds were cut. I don't know why of the 20 seconds that it was cut because I thought it was all pretty tame. I thought Deep Red or Suspiria would have been like a heavy video nasty compared to this. but I just copy and pasted the story actually from Wikipedia because I just could not figure out what was going on. But this plot, it sounds about right. It says the plot follows a young man's investigation into the disappearance of his sister, who has been living in a New York City apartment building that also served as a home for a powerful, centuries-old witch, who is Mater Tenebrarum, I guess Italian, but or not Latin. That's what it is. And I remember loving the cinematography, the entire movie. I love the color, I guess, schemes of the movie. It's very kind of back and forth in terms of the actual movie. I was not really in the mood to watch this, but this was my first one, I think, that I watched. And I just wanted to get it out of the way because I was like, oh, this is a video nasty. I haven't watched it. It's Dario Argento. I'll watch it. And I was just like distracted the entire time, not paying attention. Outside the kills and the awesome music, which is not done by Goblin. I swear it was. I looked it up. It's by a guy named Keith Emerson, who may have been in Goblin.
Oh, well.
Look for that. But the main track called Mater Tenebrarum is like kind of the theme that plays like in the middle and then at the end. And it's like Goblin sounding the entire time. And it's paired with Latin chanting. And it is awesome. I love that song. It's on my soundtrack playlist now on Spotify, and it's amazing. But I wrote here after finishing it that I thought the pacing was very wonky, and that I need to rewatch it soon because every Argento is wacky and wonky in every single way, and it's always the first viewing. I'm always like, it's okay. But it's always the second viewing that I really get to immerse myself into how awesome the movie is. But I was shocked to know that this was released uncut for the first time in 2010 because everyone loves Inferno. That's always been kind of one of the top ones that everyone says, where he like had hit after hit of Bird with Crystal Plumage, Cat of Nine Tails, Deep Red, Inferno, Suspiria, Opera. People say Phenomena is when it dives off, but I include it into his greatest hits. But I was just shocked that this movie was about what I expected from an Argento. It's exactly what it is. And I just remembered that the drink that I have tonight is based on a trope that Argento does in way too many movies of his, where at the end, everything bursts into flames. So I got this limited edition fireball cup with the flames all around, and we'll just say this is an Argento witch, because why not? But there's flames everywhere, and I was keeping this in the fridge, and I forgot that I needed to show it off, because I've been sipping on it this whole time. And it's pretty good. It's cinnamon whiskey. But,
nice.
It is very smooth. I used to drink it a lot in college, and I swore off on Fireball because I was like, if I smell it, I'm gonna throw up. Like that's how much of it I drank in college, and so I was like, okay, like I saw that bottle, I was like, I have to have it, and so I got it, and I've been sipping it, and it's way better than I thought. So, cheers.
Cheers. You can see I'm going to my Coors Light. I did not care for that beer. Oh man, I'm sorry.
This is bad.
It's like Pepe Le Pew skunk taste to it.
Well, that's my second movie, my middle.
Nice. I haven't seen that in years, man. I got it on the sale as well, so hoping to revisit it because I know I enjoyed it. But like you said, it took me a few watches to actually get it as well.
If you want to know how bad of a viewer I am when it comes to Argento, the first two watches of Suspiria, I had no idea there were witches involved.
Well, it really doesn't point him out. It doesn't point him out.
Yeah, except for the scene with Flesh for Frankenstein. What the fuck his name is? What's his name?
Urukaya.
Udo Kier. Yeah. He
I don't know if I said his name wrong, but
there's like a 40-hour scene of him where he's like, oh no, Susie Bannon, who is played by Jessica Harper, goes up to Udo Kier and is like, tell me what witches are. And he's like, let me tell you everything about witches. And he talks for like 40 minutes about what witches are. And that was the moment that I mentally clocked out. I loved everything else, but anytime that scene comes up, I skip it now. It is totally useless in my opinion. I hate that scene. Every time he's like, there's a point where he is talking about witches for 5 minutes. He gets up, moves to another like side of the college campus that he's giving the lecture on, and then starts returning about witches. And it is so boring and awful that I mentally checked out my first 2 viewings of it. And I kept forgetting the movie. Like, it was such a fever dream. Now it's my favorite movie by him, but it is
it's
definitely
very
a fever
long.
dream.
It's very long. That
It's a
scene.
90-minute
It
movie.
just goes on and
Like,
on and on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could see that.
Yeah, I'm a
it's
bad Argento watcher, so.
there's a whole trilogy on that. I think it is Mother's trilogy.
Yep. The first one's Suspiria, then Inferno, and then Mother of Tears, which is like 2007 or like 2008.
I just picked that up, but I haven't watched it yet.
And he just did a new movie called Dark Glasses, which is a giallo. And I think Arrow is doing a 4K of that because they have the rights to the next 5, I guess, 4Ks. Someone does. Whoever was doing the theater thing was like, oh yeah.
The Maestro's back. That's good. I don't know if good or bad, but he's back.
He's back.
Yeah. So I'll get into my second film here, I guess. Let's go to this is a video nasty section 1. So you would be prosecuted, I guess, is what you call it.
If you do not willingly give the VHS away.
Oh, okay.
If you do, they're like, okay, don't do that again. And that's it.
Oh, okay. So this is a 1981 film, and this is called Absurd.
Oh, dang. I thought you were going to say Evil Dead.
It's by Joe D'Amato, and he directed Anthropophagus and Endgame from '83. This is rumored to be a sequel to Anthropophagus or whatever. I can't say that word. Yeah, there you go, man. I'm bad at those.
I had to learn it when I reviewed it on my channel. We actually did it. What episode was that when I did the review? That was in one of our episodes.
Yeah, it was.
I said the kills were awesome. Like, that was it.
It was one of our first ones, I think. One of our first.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I can't remember.
It was a 7 video.
Anyways, this is
our first video we ever did.
There you go. Anyways, this is rumored to be a sequel to it, even though I read it wasn't, but everyone considered it for some reason. I don't know. It has nothing to do with that film, so
spiritual successor.
The only connection to that film is D'Amato, and it has George Eastman returning in the film. So, this is pretty much. I'm gonna read it here, which I copied from. It's a priest that chases a psycho madman who escaped from a lab. The psychotic madman has the ability to regenerate himself and begins to go on a killing spree. So that's basically the film. He's got this priest chasing him throughout the film. He gets freaking murdered, comes back to life. They can't stop him. He's an unstoppable force. And he's just going through neighborhoods, killing, and hospitals and neighborhoods, and killing people left and right. And this is where I got into a film I watched called Silent Rage with Chuck Norris. And this film's just it. So I was like, oh, another Italian ripoff. And I looked it up. I was telling you, I looked it up. This was made before it.
Oh my god! Oh yeah, I forgot that you had said that. That's hilarious. Chuck Norris stole an Italian movie.
He stole an Italian film.
Oh my god!
Which Silent Rage has done better, but what I'll give this props, it has more gore than Silent Rage. So that's where it goes into probably the video nasty category. But anyways, this was banned in 1984. It was released uncut in 2017, and it's pretty much Silent Rage, like I said, but more gorier. And they have some bikers in here that drive, and I guess they were actually real bikers that drove their bikes through the film. You'll see them back and forth. A couple of them get murdered by this psycho, but yeah, it's I mean, you got Eastman playing that psychopath, and he's just so menacing the look. And then he was like, I don't know how tall he was, 6'8", something like that. He's a tall man, really big man and menacing. And I guess one of the actresses said on set that he actually really scared her. She was scared to do scenes with him because he was actually terrified her on actual scenes. So
Hmm.
I could see that happening. But anyways, like I said, I could watch Franco Nero. This is another guy I could watch over and over. George Eastman, I just love
Oh,
his films.
I thought you were gonna say Franco Nero was in this. I was like, what?
No, as iconic as Nero is, I see Eastman the same, an Italian.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
I get it now.
yeah.
I was like, I gotta watch it now.
So I guess this film was written so bad that Eastman himself said he wouldn't do this film unless he could rewrite the whole script,
Oh wow.
change it. And I guess D'Amato agreed, so he rewrote the whole script um to put it to his charm or whatever. And I guess it passed censorship in 1981. It was distributed by D'Amato's company Cinema 80, which is known as his hardcore porn company. That's all he had released through there. So they found found this real odd to be released through that company. But
I imagine a bunch of horny dudes being like, "What's this? What's the makeout scenes? What's the porn scenes?" And they're just
yeah,
watching George Eastman eating people.
pretty much. And they're like, "Oh, he took his shirt off. Okay, there's something there, I guess." I don't know. But anyways, this film was accused of being a Halloween ripoff, which I did get Halloween out of it as well, the hospital and the
Oh
maniac.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. But they said but a bad version of it. And I guess the term boogeyman's used in this by kids. And then you got a babysitter getting stalked on a night. So
Oh wow, okay. It keeps adding up.
yeah. Yeah, it keeps adding up to Halloween. And what I thought right away on this film is the priest chasing him. He's actually played by Edmund Purdom, who was on Pieces. He's the main villain at the end of Pieces.
Oh yeah, I just
Yeah,
watched that.
he's the actual priest in this film. And I said to myself, he's kind of like Loomis. He acts like him, like all crazy and bizarre. And he's not human, stuff like that. He's like after
There's
him to kill
evil
him.
in those eyes.
Yeah, evil in his eyes. So I could understand why people were pissed off about this being a Halloween ripoff as well. But
There were so many ripoffs. I give them a free
yeah,
pass.
yeah. All in all, this is a fun film. I really enjoyed it. It's my second watch on it, but I really didn't like it on the first watch. Now that I watched it, I was like, this is pretty awesome because you do see some pretty awesome kills. There's a kill in the hospital where it pretty much puts a drill through the nurse's head, and it looks so damn real. You just see like the drill on the side of her head and the blood just squirting out, and I'm like, wow, man.
They took
Like,
that from Driller Killer.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of gore in this one. I mean, you see George Eastman running from this priest. He gets stuck on a fence, and all his intestines are falling out.
Does he
He
eat
runs to
it?
a house. No, he didn't eat it.
Ah, dang. Because they do
He just
that in
collapsed.
Anthropophagus.
He just collapses. They have to take him to the hospital, and then he somehow rejuvenates, and his stomach closes, and he's brand new again to walk the streets.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Gotta keep the movie
But
going.
yeah. But anyways, there's a little girl on here that plays. She's pretty much bedridden, and she's the hero. She learns how to, she's the one that has to fight him, the final girl. But
That's
she
just
does
like
a great
Halloween
job.
too.
Exactly. Except she's in a house. But
Not in two.
yeah, but the majority of this film is in a hospital where he's walking through there. So, but yeah, overall, I like it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5, solid. And George Eastman, man, can't go wrong. Like I say with Nero, Eastman, I can watch their films all day long. So that's all I got on that one. I explained it's a section one as well, huh? Section one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is now my turn for the
Oh,
five. Oh,
my bad. Let me show the movie.
oh yeah,
Forgot to show it.
yeah, that looks like a video nasty.
It's an 88 films Italian collection.
Ooh. Okay, so
Mhm.
my final one is one that I haven't seen. I've been huge into this director lately because, of course, friend of the channel Will edited an entire book about this director, The American Twilight, the Cinema
Oh,
of Toby Hooper. And it studies basically every movie by Toby Hooper that isn't Texas Chainsaw. Because I actually read the first
nice.
chapter today in preparation for this, but the first chapter gives a very good summary about kind of all of his films and talks about, the major themes, talks about what the book is going to be about in terms of the structure and who wrote what, like, what kind of themes they're looking at and what movies they're writing about. And for this movie today, I found a really awesome quote that really summed up all of his career. And this is also, I think, really, I guess, great for this movie. But they say here, I'm just going to read the whole paragraph. Robin Wood, who is, I guess, one of the first writers or academics in regards to film history, she said that, well, it says that Robin Wood has written that home and family lie at the center of American horror, and Hooper's work is a key example. In Hooper films, landscape and architecture are prominent as metaphors for fragile psychic and bodily states, but also spatial manifestations of the darker revelatory nature of a reality that must be inhabited and physically traversed to be experienced. Hooper's monstrous spaces, buildings, and houses are the main attraction. In his films, as Mario de Giglio Bellamere puts it in his essay in this collection, within them, Hooper visits upon the spectator themes linked to isolation, invasion, infection, decay, and degeneration, particularly with respect to what Bruce Caron, referring to Hooper's The Funhouse 1981, calls the degenerate family. Hooper consistently finds horror and humor in the absurdities that lie at the center of the American family, in all its permutations, perversions, and subversions of the norm. And the movie was, I guess, named in that, but that was The Funhouse. I
Oh,
finally
nice.
watched it. I love it. I love it as much as everyone else. And I have to grab another movie real quick that, hold on. That our main character did the very next year, I believe. Her name is Elizabeth Barrage, is our main girl in this movie. She's like 18, 19. And she's still living with her family, and they're like, you should not go to that carnival. It's a sin. And her little brother is being a maniac and like filming her and scaring the shit out of her. But Elizabeth Barrage is most well known for this movie, which is one of my favorites, and I haven't seen it in a very long time. But it's Amadeus, which is all
Mm.
about the pianist composer guy. And she's in it, and she won like a Golden Globe for that movie. And her role
Wow.
before it was Toby Hooper's Funhouse, which, like, her role and her acting in this movie was phenomenal. She can scream in this movie. And she was, I think, 19 years old when they filmed it. And she is just knocking it out of the park. I think she's the best actor in the movie. But this is a Section 2 movie. And I guess I didn't copy and paste the plot for it. I just kind of talked about the, I guess, the behind the scenes. But, excuse me. On her first date with Buzz, Amy, who is Elizabeth Barrage, disobeys her father and goes to the goes to the carnival with Richie and Liz. But the first date may end up as the last. After witnessing a murder, the four terrified teens are trapped in the maze of the funhouse and stalked by a real monster, a horribly deformed killer who lurks among the freakish exhibits, waiting to butcher them one by one. This movie is another one of those American settings being the source of the evils. I think Poltergeist is kind of the best realization of this trope that Tobe Hooper does a lot, which is that the horror is coming from the suburbs and normal American lives and all of this stuff. Because that was one of the big issues, from what I know, between him and Steven Spielberg for Poltergeist, is that Tobe Hooper really wanted to play up how nasty and disgusting the suburbs were, and looking at kind of the corruption within communities and how it's invading space and all of that, which I kind of touched on with the opening paragraph. But I really loved this movie. The effects are great. Lots of great homages to the horror genre before this movie. And that was one of the sections in the first chapter of that book that I showed, was kind of looking at how Tobe Hooper was a huge fan of the Hammer horror films, Frankenstein, Dracula, all these different movies, and how he used those films as having our main character's little brother, usually, such as in Poltergeist in this movie, and they mention Mars attacks, or invaders from Mars, as the three movies where they have this little brother character who always have a bunch of posters of these classic films on the walls, and they have figurines and action figures and all the stuff. And that's in it too, in this film. And this is kind of, after watching this movie is when I finally decided to start reading the book. So I feel like I've seen enough Hooper movies now that I can really dive deep into his filmography, I guess, in the, academic sort of way. But in regards to it being a video nasty, this was section 2, and I get it. It's very bloody. It is very Last House on the Left, where we have our peer, young adult who is going to have fun and things go awful. And it's the same kind of case in Last House on the Left, where the parents are like, we don't want you to go to this concert. And she's like, no, it'll be fine. I'm going to go to my friend's house after. And she actually sneaks out and goes to the thing that her parents are warning her about in both this film and in Last House on the Left. And then everything goes crazy, and the parents have to kind of wrestle with this invasion of trust. And at least in Last House on the Left, they have to grapple with the fact that her killers are in the home, and that they have no idea where the daughter is. And one of the killers is wearing the necklace of the daughter, and it's like, oh my god, like, we need to exact revenge. And they get brought down to the level of sleaze and violence that the people who killed the daughter are at. So it's like this never-ending cycle of violence going on. And this was actually released uncut in theaters, I was reading about. And people theorize that this movie was accidentally put on the list, because there's a different movie called Last House on Dead Street, which the original title was The Fun House, except it was not one word fun house, it was The Fun Space House. And that movie is all about a madman who creates snuff films. And it is, I want to say 100% that they meant to ban that movie and not this one. But this one I think is still pretty violent. It's Tobe Hooper. very pessimistic view of kind of the status quo. There's a section in the book, at least in the chapter I read, where they talk about his anti-war uh, opinions because he was around during the Vietnam War and he made a documentary, which was one of his first films of all time that he made with Church, I believe, kind of preaching that we should not be in Vietnam is what the documentary was, and he gives a very kind of step back view of it, and he called himself the designer of that documentary rather than a director. So he just kind of designed it, and it's very obvious that he was anti-war and definitely anti-Vietnam War and our role in that. But this movie's a lot of fun. I was very much just thinking about, him as a director the entire movie and really looking at, the decay of, the American nuclear family is what he's always kind of observing in his own films is kind of the breakdown of, normal families and these weird, anyone can experience this type of thing, but it is really good. I don't really have much else to say. I know it's mostly things surrounding Toby Hooper, but the book is really fucking good. I'm really enjoying it right now. So, yeah. Have you seen The Funhouse?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's my second favorite Hooper film, actually. Yeah,
I can't wait for
I'm a.
Second Sight to do Texas Chainsaw this summer.
Oh
Well, not
yeah,
this summer, but like later this year, I think. And then Vinegar Syndrome's doing number 2, which we got confirmation on. I think
awesome.
no, it's October
Okay,
they're releasing it. So happy for
4K.
for my subscription. I get it free.
I can't get those. I have to go month by month for me. uh, yeah, the Funhouse. I'm a sucker for anything with carnival settings or stuff like that. I just love those kind of horror films. And to me, this one's one of the best. I've always been a fan of it. I've heard people complain it's too slow, but it's building up. It's building
Yeah,
up
it's
to where
building.
it's,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't
I
get
want
why
to
they
get
say
to the
that,
fireworks
but
factory. That Simpsons meme. It's like, no, enjoy the
yeah.
slow burn.
And it's just Hooper has a thing with visuals. Like he always has these, like from Texas, he has all the skulls, the skeletons built together. And this one, it's Funhouse characters. You have clowns. He just has a way of putting stuff that it's pretty fucking creepy, if I could
Oh
put it
yeah,
like that. But it's just his style. Even Poltergeist. I mean, they said they use actual real skeletons in that
they
movie
use real
for
skeletons
that.
in every movie though.
Yeah, yeah, true. But that was the big
But
thing with
yeah,
Poltergeist. But
it's a
in
fun
the
legend.
burial ground, yeah, fun legend. But yeah, I love that film too. So I agree with you. I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, I love the original cover that Scream Factory does, but man, that theatrical one is so awesome. I was just looking at it and like, just like nodding.
That's a VHS cover right there.
Oh, is it?
It's iconic. Yeah.
Oh, they also have a Frankenstein, a character who has a Frankenstein mask. So it's another homage that the book talks about.
Universal monsters right there.
Oh yeah, he was a
Yeah.
big fan of them. But I'm trying to think anything else. There's an audio commentary with Toby Hooper. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
I will have to listen to that at some point.
Yeah, I watched that film in October. I always watch Funhouse in October for some
Oh
reason.
yeah,
Gets me psyched during that month. Yeah, so shall I get into my final film here?
let's hear it.
All right. Well, this one was, like I said, out of nowhere. I had no intentions of watching this. It got changed like 3 times, but for some reason it popped up twice. So I said, there's a reason. I better do it. So this is my 60s video nasty. And it's gonna go from a box set, the Andy Milligan
Oh my god.
box set. And it's going to be, see if I could get it on here. The Ghastly ones.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't even. I've
Yeah,
never even heard of that. I know Andy Milligan.
1968. And I watched this when I first got the set, but I forgot it, so I revisited it again. And it was more fun this time, I'm gonna say. I'm gonna start off with saying Andy Milligan's not for everyone because he's very low budget.
That's all I hear.
Yeah, and his movies are bad, but they're entertaining. To me, they're entertaining. I don't know why. I just get a kick out of them. Um, I'm gonna go with what this film's about. We got three sisters with their husbands. They get a pretty much a note from their father. They haven't seen him in years, and he's telling him to go to this like old Victorian era house because I guess he's dying or he's gonna die. So he's there. What the daughters think right away is we're getting his will, his money, because he's a rich man. So all of them get together, decide to go to this house. They're fighting over the money. The oldest daughter wants all of it, saying she took care of all of them because I guess their mom wasn't around. So it goes into that heritage situation. But I mean, they get to this house and it's a basics. I mean, you've heard this story a lot of times. So they get to this old creepy like gothic house and they start getting picked off one by one by an unknown killer. So it goes into kind of Jallo territory in a way here. But what they don't know about, I mean, the killer is pretty much claimed to be after their inheritance as well. So there's a story on all that. So that's how it's put together. So I'm gonna read this straight off what they put on this on a review. They put so bad it's actually good, and I have to agree 100% because this is not a good film in any way or form. But is it entertaining? Hell yeah. So I mean, you did a film on Herschel Gordon Lewis, and I see Andy Milligan as a Lewis as well. Man, he just has that gore that was ahead of its time. Because I mean, he didn't have much to work with, but I mean these effects and kills were pretty impressive. And I'm gonna go to why it's impressive and why it got put on this video nasties list. Apparently, they were using real animal organs in this film and making it
That's
come
how you
out
do
as
it.
that's what put them on the list. So, anyways, Stephen King wrote about this movie in one of his books called Danse Macabre, and he put but this film is the type of film that works for morons with a camera. So he pretty much bashed this whole film just in one sentence, which it's pretty hilarious because you see it's rumored that I couldn't catch it on the film, but it says that through scenes you could hear Milligan's voice saying "cut"
Oh.
through the whole film. So
Oh my god.
I couldn't catch it. I gotta watch it again to see. But anyways, there's even scenes where the actors are really close together, and what it was saying is they were hugging to stay on the small camera. They had like a small camera, so they had to hug in so they wouldn't get off camera. So you could see how low budget this film was for the time. Um, what else did I got on this film? It was number 39 on the Video Nasties list and was prosecuted or whatever. It's section one.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it also has another title, goes by Blood Rights. And yeah, I don't know. This is ahead of its time for me because the gore's really impressive for what they're working with. I mean, you get some rakes to the throat, blood squirting out.
Oh wow.
I mean, the beginning starts off with this couple pretty much laying on the grass making love, and then they get picked off by, of course, the psycho. And I mean, he's cutting off legs and limbs, and you see him getting chopped off and skin getting uh pretty much decapitated. How would you say it? Cutting on flesh. You see legs getting sliced up and arms flying. It was pretty cool effects, but it starts off right away with a bang. But yeah, overall, I looked it up, and this is number. It doesn't go number lower than number 2 on his top 10 list. So I guess it's one of his top films that he made. So
That's
you,
that's scary.
yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing, but when you look up Milligan, you're gonna see Ghastly Ones as one of his top films or most talked about. But yeah, it even has a guy that marketed this film on the extras, and he's dissing the film. He's like, "This is so bad, but we just wanted to like sell it." He's all talking about
Make
it.
money.
And, yeah, he's like, fuck it, I wanted another name for the film, but I couldn't get it. And he's just going off about it, but he said it lives the test of times, which I agree. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. Another one, and I don't think this is my favorite out of the set. I'd have to say Bloodthirsty Butchers was mine, but that one doesn't get good reviews. But for me, I loved it because of the gore. But yeah, I like Andy Milligan. I think he leans more towards the horror side of films, because like I have the Al Adamson box set. He has horror, but he's more like exploitative, like more of that grindhouse. Which Milligan's more horror. You'll get more horror out of this set than anything. Which is more. I love all of it, but I lean towards horror all the time. So I appreciate this box set. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say on Mr. Andy Milligan, man.
Awesome. Yeah, I've actually been really wanting to get that box set, but every time I'm like, hey guys, should I get it? Everyone's like, no, don't get it. Like, it's not worth it. Just watch
They're
it on
not good
streaming.
movies. But I get a kick out of them for some reason. Like I said, the gore and the horror, but it is bad filming. You'll see it.
I've heard that new box set that's coming out has a lot of great movies in it. I didn't realize he was like a porno director. So like half of them are like pornos apparently. So
When you said that porno set, I was like, which one? And then you're like, yeah, it is porn. I had forgot about it. Towards the, I was like, yeah, I need that set too.
Seven does really good box sets. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they do. This one's real nice. Got like that retro look to it. And you got like a book. You've probably seen it before, but there's Milligan right there, an older Milligan.
Oh wow. But
I also got to say, real beautiful women in the film. They're real bit.
All right.
Just to add that note.
Noted. So what's the next theme gonna be? I chose Video Nasties. Should I read off the list?
Yeah, I kind of forgot.
So there's female-led action, shitty remakes, home invasion, robots, zombies, Criterion Collection, box set, Hammer horror, full moon features, martial arts, erotic thrillers, and then these are ones that we've done already, which I've added back in since it's been a while. Arrow, Giallo, creature feature, westerns. Well, we've done that recently. Monster Mash, dystopian / post-apocalyptic, revenge flicks, 70s Japanese, 80s action, sci-fi, Vinegar Syndrome, and Criterion. I'll take that off because we already have it on the list. But yeah.
Man, I'm leaning towards female-led action films.
Shit, I don't have like any of them.
No, okay. Or
don't do that one.
Okay, or full moon features. Full moon features.
I don't have full moon pictures at all.
Okay. Zombies.
Yeah, okay, I can do that.
Okay. Zombies will work.
I got way too many zombie movies. Okay, that works great. And we haven't even done zombies yet.
No, we haven't. Thought we had. Weird.
I'm trying to think.
But weird.
No,
I don't think we
Monster
have.
Mash is probably the closest.
Yeah, I'm cool with zombies. That's
Right.
Big fan of that.
Awesome. Well, this episode went a lot longer than I thought it'd be. About an hour and a half. So,
Wow.
Next episode will be zombie movies, and I guess roughly 2 to 3 weeks, depending on scheduling. But thank you everyone for watching. This was a lot of fun as always. Lots of notes actually on this one that we both had.
Yeah.
We were everywhere on this one.
Everywhere.
But, thank you again for joining me, Cult Flicks, and yeah.
Thanks, Christian, for having me again, man. It's always a pleasure, and awesome content here that we're doing. I'm having a blast.
Thank you. Sounds good. Thank you, and have a good night, everyone.